In this next video, I'm going to show you how to cast on stitches onto the needle. Because in order to knit, we need a starting point, and those are a bunch of stitches on the needle. The first way is called the E cast on, or the backwards E cast on, and you start with a slip knot. You twist the yarn and then pull through the back. Put this on the needle and snug it up closely. One thing I do want to point out is the size of your stitch is determined by the circumference of the needle. If you work on the tips, if you snug it up to the tip, the size of the stitch is going to be much smaller. So make sure to work on the main part of the needle, not on this tapered part. So I'm going to do a slip knot, and then I'm going to show you the E cast on. You hold the yarn like this. Dip your finger under and twist, and you can see if you take my finger out that it looks like an E. Tip your finger under and twist and slide it on. That's the slip knot counts as one, and we've just cast on another. To do it again, dip your finger under, point it away from you, stick the needle in that loop and pull off. Under and point away, stick the needle in the loop, under and away, in the loop, under and away. That's one way. Suggested in the name, the long tail cast on requires a length of yarn, the tail, not the yarn that goes to the ball of yarn. And the only drawback to this is figuring out how long a tail you need for the number of stitches. For my arm length, I get about 30 stitches on a worsted weight, but you might be different. You can also check out Kat Bordy's video on how to calculate how long a tail you'll need in casting on. But since we're just going to do a few, it doesn't really matter. And with the long tail cast on, you don't need a slip knot. I'll show you a trick I learned from Elizabeth Zimmerman. So I'll hold the yarn kind of like a slingshot, where the tail is over your thumb. Grab the bottom two with these two fingers, snug it up, dip the needle down in there, and twist. So I have one stitch. And it's useful to hold on to that with your index finger so it doesn't fly off. So now I have what I like to call a slingshot. And this I'm calling home position. You see that you have a loop over your thumb. If you go into that loop and then swing around, go over the yarn on your finger and pull that yarn, grab that yarn and pull it through the loop on your thumb. Bend your thumb and it drops off. And use your thumb, you can snug it up. And then you're back in home position. Up through the stitch, around the yarn on your finger, through, release the thumb, and use it to tighten up. Get back into home position, under the thumb, over the finger you will pull it through the loop, release the thumb. And you do that for however many stitches you have. You can get a pretty good speed up. Using your thumb after you drop it to tighten is useful. So once more slowly, into the loop on the thumb, around the finger, and through the thumb. If we examine this, this is really a backwards E cast on. Grabbing this yarn, pulling it through that loop, is actually knitting the first stitch in your row. So that is how we cast on. I'm just going to cast on a few more, and then I'm going to show you the knit stitch.